Welcome to the House of Life Dialogues, a podcast for the brave, the visionary, and those building sacred lives in a modern world. I am Maria of Egypt, and in each episode, we explore grounded wisdom, sacred entrepreneurship, and the art of choosing love over fear. This is not a performance, it's a remembering. Welcome everyone. For today's episode, we are going to talk about sacred boundaries. So, if we are going to talk about boundaries, let's first identify what is a boundary. A boundary, it's like an energetic line that you draw for yourself that makes you comfortable operating in a way. It's not to enforce anything on others, but it to keep you operating in the optimum way for yourself. You can have boundaries with your phone, with scrolling, with people, with food. You need to practice how to make a boundary for yourself, because as a leader that you are, you have to be in tune with yourself. Where do you start and where do you end, and where is the next person is going to start. When I talk about boundaries with my friends and colleagues, they think it's like, if you do this, then I would do that, and if you don't answer me, I will not talk to you again. And it's kind of like a punishment in a way, or you are putting someone up for failure. But it's not about what the other do or don't. It's about what you can accept within your energy and what you say, it doesn't work for me. And it's not your responsibility how the other behave towards the boundary that you set. So, for example, I set boundaries for myself in terms of food. I set boundaries for myself in terms of time I spend online. I put boundaries for myself in terms of work. How much is too much work? How much is too less work? I set boundaries for me if I want to spend time with my family or spend time with my friends. It can be quite tricky when there is other people involved, especially the ones that you hold dear to yourself. That's actually where you can master the art of boundary, because it's getting emotionally entangled with other people and your own emotion. It takes a bit of practice, like everything we talked about, but it's important, it's inevitable for a leader to be able to exert boundaries for his or her own energy. It's very difficult, as we mentioned, to hold boundaries with people that we care about, because your emotions get entangled. It's very difficult to make decisions when you are emotional, whichever emotional state you are in. But I started to learn about emotions as energy in motion. I can't remember where I read about this, but it's basically energy, and I can work with it. I can transmute it. I can alchemize it. I don't work against it. It's like the force of wind or the force of water. So if I feel emotionally towards my children, for example, it's a very strong bond. It's very hard for you to set boundaries with them. What does this even look like, mom with child? It's not like I'm going to punish you if you said so or if you do this, or it's about where do you end and where your child start. It's very important to teach them. I'm using the analogy of a child because it's a very strong emotional connection, and it's very hard for you to say no to them when you love them so much. But as mothers, we can get really entangled in this guilt feeling that you have to be everything for everyone. You forget about yourself. You basically don't have any boundaries. You're energetically leaking around them, and they would feed off this energy, and that's what they need. It's your own responsibility to say, well, I need to have rest now. I need to sleep now. I need to work now. I need to do this. You are teaching them how can they practice boundary making in their own life, and you are not leaking your energy so you don't burn out and then you are not there for them. So putting boundaries with loved ones, it's actually an act of love for yourself and them, because if you keep saying yes to people out of love or shame or guilt or out of people pleasing or codependency, you're taking your boundaries away. It doesn't serve them on the long run, because you feel resentful and you feel burnt out. You hold a lot of grudge against them, even if you don't say it consciously or you don't even act on it or say it out loud. It is festering in your system. It can create disease when you feel resentful towards someone. It can be your own child, even if they are not doing this on purpose. They are there and they need you, but you don't know how to practice boundaries. You feel burnt out. and you project it on them that they are the reason that you are not doing what you are supposed to do, while it's your own responsibility as the leader or as the parent or as the husband or as the wife or any of these roles to practice your own boundaries. It's an act of self-love to you and to the other person. It was a big learning curve for me to learn where I end, where my energy ends, where I can set boundaries, because I grew up in Egypt. It's a very strong culture. It's a Middle Eastern culture. You are supposed to belong to your family. You learn from early age to people please. You learn from early age to emotionally regulate people around you. You are trying to be safe by making everyone happy. So you abandon yourself early on. You don't know who is yourself really, because in order for you to be your own individual self, you have to show it up. And sometimes it's very dangerous when you are different from the crowd. So you learn early on to be codependent and to be people-pleasing and to be just going with the flow. So for me to change from this character to be the leader who I am today, it took me on a very long journey and a very steep curve of learning how to set boundaries. I'm still learning. It's still work in progress. I read about it. I listen to podcasts. I self-educate. I go to coaches. And sometimes I succeed in setting a boundary. Sometimes I don't. But it's an inevitable skill for every leader to practice boundaries, because your energy is your sacred currency. And if you don't have your boundaries, nobody can enforce it for you. It's your own responsibility. It's your sacred currency. It's the one that you use to create, to hold vision, to help others, to be a mother, to be a wife, to be anything of those things. It's your own responsibility to keep it and to hold it steady and to refuel it, to rekindle it with the things that you want and love doing in life. It's not other people's responsibility to respect your boundaries. It is your responsibility to enforce it. One of the ways I transitioned from people-pleasing to boundary setting is that the rule of 3. So this is something I just came up with for my own practice. I would say, for example, in terms of relationships, friends, family, if I'm dealing with anyone, I would express my need or my request or the job that required to be done or anything. I would express it once and then twice. And on the third time, if it's not respected, I would withdraw my energy out of respect for me and the other person, because I've already told them 3 times that, this is affecting me in this way and it's going to affect the relationship, whether it is a work relationship or any friendship or any kind of relationship. So I always stick with the rule of 3, and it's kind of prepping my nervous system to self-regulate. Is like, if somebody disappointed me once, that's fine. In my psyche, they still have 2 more chances, but I wouldn't go more than 3, not because I don't value the relationship, but because it puts me into the energy of resentment, and then I have to deal with this. It festers in me and gives me anxiety or anything like that, and then it would be even more bigger for me to manage. So rather than me going down this route, I don't have to go and tell everyone about it, but I know myself, I learned myself, and that's kind of my boundary. Same with everything. Your boundaries change because your energy changes. You evolve and they evolve with you. So the more you become connected to more people, projects, things in life, the more you grow, the more you expand, the more your energy become sacred and expensive. So it's very important for you to be able to set tighter boundaries to prevent energy leak, because your energy is distributed among so many different things. So you need to be very in tune with yourself. When have you expanded? When are you pivoting into the next chapter of your life? Do you really need to set tighter boundaries with people that you love? And trust me, the right people in your life, the one that really love to see you grow and believe in your vision, they would celebrate you and they would respect your boundaries. But other people would treat you in a very difficult way because they have been enjoying your less tight boundaries in a way, they would take advantage of it. They like that you are more available to them. They like your energy. They are feeding on it. So this is not the relationship, whether it's family, friends, or anything, that you want to keep moving on to the next chapter. This is not out of hate or out of fear. It's radical act of self-love to yourself and to the others. Always remember, if you give yourself or anybody else access to you and they don't appreciate it, you would grow resentful. And this is even more toxic to your system and to them. You're sending them bad energy, you're sending yourself bad energy. It creates disease. This has been studied by science. There is a lot of research about it, is that our emotions cause the disease. So you don't need to go that way. It's out of love for yourself and others to set healthy boundaries. So the takeaways from today's episode is how to create boundaries for yourself. It is your responsibility because it keeps your energy intact. It's like the dam for the river or the mountain for the ocean. It's your responsibility to hold it still so you can manage the relationships in your life, whether it is with people, whether it is with work, whether it is with yourself. You set yourself a boundary to keep your energy intact. So there would be no energy leakage, there would be no resentful energy towards yourself or others, no guilt, no shame, only act out of love for yourself and others. Your body is your temple, your vision is sacred, and your courage to live it, that's what builds a house of life. I am Maria of Egypt. Until next time, walk boldly, live wisely, and choose love.